That was beautiful. That was so good.
That felt really good.
That was so good.
Like my
it was like a waterfall.
My 4-year-old self is really happy that I did that.
Alright, so today we're actually aimlessly driving. Lucas did some mods to his car.
I did one mod. It's only an intake, and I plan to do a lot more. But it sounds, I'm really happy because I did it by myself. 1, 2, basically I said in my last video that I'm starting to like actually appreciate what I have now, and it's not me just like BSing and saying that. I'm actually like invested in my car now. Like I don't look for other cars anymore because I don't have that like desire anymore. Which is awesome.
You're being content.
Yeah, because now I'm just happy with my car. Yeah, it's dope.
Yeah, it's dope. Yeah.
I don't sound like that.
You sound just like that. Yeah. Alright, so this week I've been doing a lot of self-exploration. So, have you guys ever heard of the Briggs personality quiz test assessment thing? Well, I've always known that I am an ENFP, but I've never really took a really deep dive into really understand what that meant about my cognitive functions and how that affected my decision-making process. So randomly this week I found a podcast, so shout out to Personality Hackers, and they basically teach you about your Briggs-Myers personality type in relation to your decision-making process and how you act. And that really helped me understand why I act the way I act, why people perceive me the way they perceive me, and why I get really anxious, and what I can do to better approach a lot of situations. And it really just shed a lot of light on who I am as a person and how I can harness all of my different quirkiness and bits and things like that. Yeah. I thought this was actually going to be a longer explanation than it actually ended up being.
I like the personality hacker too, because it really it allowed me to understand myself and that there are other people like me in that sense. And it helped me understand the 3-year-old version of myself, which isn't the young part of myself, but more the undeveloped part of myself that I have to do some growing in. So it helped me do that and understand basically the different levels to myself, which is helpful. It's very insightful, hella insightful.
Yeah. And then something else that I also had to acknowledge is that not a lot of people work on personal development until they get a lot older. So if you're interested in who you are as a person, why you make certain decisions that you're making,
just why you are the way you are.
Right. If you're thinking about that, you're already ahead of the game, because a lot of people start to explore. Okay, so in personality hacker, they talk about a car model, whatever. So there's a. I don't want to get into this. This is
What?
I guess what I'm trying to say is that there's some people who don't take the time to understand who they are as people until they're in their 30s and their 40s, and then their 50s they're probably discovering a part of themselves that they didn't know existed. That might lead to a midlife crisis. So really understanding who you are as a person in your 20s is so vital, and it's a very different approach to how normal people just go through life. A lot of people just go through the motions. They get a job, they get married, they have kids, and there's not a lot of personal development happening until much later in their life. So the fact that people like us are taking the time to search within and understand who we are, I feel I don't know, it makes me warm and fuzzy, and makes me really hopeful for the future. We won't have to do this later on.
Yeah. To add a layer on top of that, you said how there's a social pressure for you to just get a job, get married, and so on. That's a bunch of external pressure. It's not you saying all right, you're not walking yourself through the steps. You're having like other people that you don't even know walk through the steps for you.
Right.
And like tell you like you have to be at this point.
At this
right
time
here.
in your life, yeah.
And it's not fair to you, first of all, because you have a completely different storyline than someone else. So you can't adjust your storyline to someone else's if A, they're not the main character. B, they just don't matter in your life. No shade. If they don't have like a pivotal role in your life, don't take their opinion so heavily because quite frankly it's not supposed to like have that sort of priority in your mind.
I like that. I don't know what else to say.
Me neither.
What do we normally do on vlogs?
I mean, just talk, really. I think we've been doing a pretty good job so far, but...
Of just talking?
Yeah, it's been very natural.
Yeah. I actually find that, like, filming by myself has helped me a lot with being okay with the camera. It's really difficult being on YouTube. Like, I give so much props to everyone who does their own channel, people who do their own vlogs. This has taught me so much about how uncomfortable a lens can make you feel. Because this lens represents everyone who will be looking at me. And so people will come with their own preconceived notion, like, what am I trying to say? Preconceived notions, and like their own judgments and their own backgrounds and their own understanding of life. And, you know, people might not agree, but this lens represents all of that. And like, we're choosing to be vulnerable when we turn on the camera.
Very true.
So I respect any and everybody who, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know what's wrong with you. Just because you're a Maserati, back up.
Maserati privileges.
Hey, well.
Oh, no, it's okay. I'm gonna go slow for him.
You know what's really amazing?
What?
Way back when, people used to have to communicate through the letters, and it would take like
a while
for a letter to come. And like now, I can just send you a letter with my phone.
Word.
And you can get it, and you can respond like right then and there.
Another layer to that is that it's personal.
Yeah.
With a letter, like your mom could open that and be like, "Oh, who's this?"
Yeah.
But with a text, it's just like I'm talking to who I'm talking to, but it's you and that person. It's confidential. I don't know. Something I've been thinking about recently is like generalization and how often we do that.
Talk about it.
For example, racism. It's a generalization. And I feel like the more you begin to generalize any group of people, you could be black, you could be white, you could be straight, you could be homosexual, you could be, I don't know, purple. I like, if you generalize a group of people, like, problems are going to stem from that because not everyone is the same. Everyone has a different, A, timeline, and B, just disposition. You know what I mean? And you can't, I feel like you have to treat every case separately because it's all foundationally different.
Got it. Because in the same way, people are different. Their problems are different. Their identity is different. Their situations are different. Their circumstances. I can go on.
Yeah. That's what I think, personally.
I think that it doesn't really matter what side you're on. Like, you could be for guns or against guns, but there should be a common ground that things need to change.
Yeah.
Because their lives, they're really young and innocent lives that are being affected. And like, I think that it doesn't matter if you're for, you know, being able to bear your arms or against being able to bear arms. Like, there's something going on in this country, and it's happening at like a faster pace. Like, we keep having a lot more shootings at shorter time intervals.
Yeah, that's great.
And it's becoming so commonplace that like now you want teachers to protect their students and also teach and still get paid minimum wage. Okay, well, figure that out. That's wild. It's just like you're not increasing their salary. Like you're telling them you have to do all these extra things and still get paid 40 grand a year. Maybe that's not minimum wage, but whatever. So the point is, I think everyone can agree that something needs to change in our country.
Not a lot of people agree with that.
I know, which is crazy.
Yeah, some people think that the U.S. is fine right now. And I'm going to try and understand why someone would say that. Because say if you're in a bad situation, you see the good in it. That could be a similar mindset that person is in.
Okay.
Like, they see the good in
America.
What we already have.
Right.
But what I do personally is I see the good we have, and then I see, like, the gray areas and how we can pull it into that, like, better area. And then I see, like, the very, like, dark parts of the U.S., and I feel like we don't have to jump straight to, like, the better, but we have to, like,
incrementally change.
Yeah, we have to inch forward and progress.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I completely agree with that. High five. Great thought. Okay, can I say something? So, Black Panther, I haven't seen it yet. Super excited to see it. Although I'm very excited for Black Panther, there's some things about the movie that really irk me. Not about the contents of the movie, not about the culture but the audience and what the audience and what some part of the audience might be perceiving, and just miscommunication. A case of miscommunication, basically.
I would say so.
And that really irks me because it's basically counterintuitive of what we needed this movie to do.
You're saying that demographics of the audience aren't accepting the cast, like, as a whole, like, as a human. They're only accepting, like, certain parts of them that they relate with.
Exactly, yes.
Gotcha.
Oh, that was really well done. Thank you.
Gotcha. No problem.
Thank you. But yeah, and that irks me. But
I understand that.
But I'm gonna keep my mouth shut, and you guys can figure out what that means. Oh, man. Yeah.
I definitely understand that. And I think that's a problem where it's like, you're so close. You know what I mean? Like, it's not even like a black thing. It's literally like a human rights thing. Like, just accept me as a whole. Yeah. Like, that's it. Like, don't accept me just because I'm gay or just because I'm black. Accept me, like, because I'm another human being like you are. Exactly. I definitely agree.
And there are people who are missing that. Just missing it.
I'm almost done.
With The Office?
Yeah.
I'm
on,
so
like,
sorry.
season 9.
I'm so sorry.
But it's alright. I got plenty of stuff lined up on Netflix.
I don't know if it will ever be able to.
I'm not looking for, like, another show like The Office.
The Office is one if it's just.
And there were shows that followed after, like Parks and Recreation.
I hear Parks and Rec is really good. I just
really
can't.
Good?
I can't get into it yet because I'm still grieving the end of The Office.
Yeah, like the thing I really like about The Office, I read about it the other day. The director made sure that everyone was comfortable with improv, and that's I came to a point in The Office where I'm like, is this actually real, or is this being acted, or is this real? Because, like, I actually struggled to determine the difference, because I'm like, this is all too real. Yeah. Like, it felt way too real, and that's awesome that it felt like that, because for me personally, I don't think I've ever felt that way ever about a movie or a TV show. So...
Have you ever seen Improv Now?
No.
So, basically, there's this agency in New York. I believe it's called Improv Now. They're a bunch of, like, improv people, and they do random things throughout the city. Like, they'll go... There's this one episode that, like, I enjoy so much. They went to Staples, and they made an office in Staples.
That's amazing.
And, like, the employees of Staples would be like, excuse me, sir, you can't do that. They're like, excuse me?
Excuse me?
Like, they're just so good, and, like, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they're awesome.
That's...
I'm gonna have to send that to you. I'll put some I'll put some inside that corner. Some really cool Improv Now stuff.
I think what did it for me, or the reason why I admire actors, is because they managed to actually engage me that much. You know what I mean? Because in The Office, like, I could feel like I was there. And that's another thing. The way the cameras are set up, it just invites you in, but it doesn't let you know that you're invited in. It just does it. And, like, you're already in there. Right. And, like, the feeling of having, in essence, like a documentary, but you're in, like, the good, and you're in, like, the reality of the situation, but it's also surreal, because you're like, would this actually happen, like, in the office, or like in the office space.
Right.
The show just does so much for me that I can't help but admire it. And there's another thing. Yeah, and it's also very surreal because I don't know, it blows your mind like, wow, why is Michael Scott like so dumb? But like at the same time you're like, oh, I know a few people that are kind of like that. I don't know, the show is so well done. So well done. And I looked, the scene where Jim and Pam get married, originally, that shot in and of itself, like the gas station, that was supposed to be $100,000 scene. That scene alone. But they ended up spending $250 because they had to remake it, because that actual shot was supposed to be shot on the Merritt.
On the Merritt Parkway?
Yeah.
In Connecticut?
Yeah.
Whoa!
Yeah, it's...
We're famous!
It's crazy, and they remade it for $250. I don't know why. But the fact that, like, A, one shot costs so much. B, they have that type of budget. It's just amazing, because it shows that they really hit it off.
Yeah.
Like, they really found their cue, and their target audience in the beginning was meant for people in that demographic, like of that age, like 40, like mid 30s, 40s. But once they found out that it catered to the younger demographic, like the demographic under that, I feel like that's where they like hit their
sweet spot.
Yeah, and it just skyrocketed. Because The Office is amazing. Like, I think, and this is coming from the person that usually had like a heavy bias towards animated shows.
Yeah, so he didn't used to watch. I had to like beg him to watch The Office, like beg. Seriously, he was like, I only watch anime, and I'm like, well, you're missing out on the greatest show ever. Can I tell you something funny?
Sure.
Michael is a ENFP, just like me.
Really?
I think so.
That's funny. That's very funny. I can see that. I can very much see that.
I'm just not as ignorant, I hope. I hope.
I don't think so. Nah, not even, I don't think so. Like, no, because he says some stuff.
He says some crazy things. So, I stopped filming for a while. The car stopped on the highway.
Like, in the middle lane. The worst lane possible.
And, like, obviously everyone behind us was agitated, but, like, there was nothing Lucas could do.
Nothing. I just turned on my hazards. That's all I could do.
Then a cop came. Like, literally, like, not even 2 minutes after. The cop came, and he's like, stay in the car. Lucas opened the door because, like, he can't roll down his windows because he didn't have power or whatever. He's like, stay in the car, stay in the car. And I'm like, Lucas, stay in the car. But he was like, he told him that he was like, you're gonna feel me bump your car? And I'm like, no, not the pain. And then just as he was about to put his car into neutral, the car started working. Yeah. So literally, like, the cop arrived for no reason, quote unquote, and then left without fulfilling, like, anything. You know what I mean? But hey, like, God is good. Happen, yeah. God is good. God is good. Yeah.
There's a leak.
I'm sorry.
It's all good. I mean, at least I know it's fixable. Alright, so we're on 1%.
Lucas waited till we were on 1%. Bye again.
Peace out, bro.